Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the JCT Talks podcast.
Today we'll be talking about world problems.
We are also having this month's tea giveaway this episode.
To enter, go in the link in the description and like this video and subscribe to the channel.
Now, on to the podcast.
So we were going to do world problems today, so I think I'm going to start us off with that. So world problems, there's been a lot of them throughout the years. We've had a more recent one and still going on for a while, which is global warming, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. Global warming is definitely a world problem now. It's affecting a lot of stuff, people and animals, and, and that's not good. That's why it's a world problem. And, there's also hurricanes, earthquakes, tornadoes, and a lot of those have been caused by humans sometimes, like hurricanes. There's been a lot more hurricanes recently, and that has to do with, I'm pretty sure, global warming. But I could be wrong. And but then, like, earthquakes and all of that is a little more just, kind of just happens. But it's more common in, like, central Kansas, Texas, Oklahoma area. That's where you get a lot of the tornadoes. But, I mean, even, like, I remember back in Virginia one year, there was, like, 10 hurricanes. Tornado. 10 hurricanes. That'd be insane. No, but, like, 10 tornadoes. They didn't touch the ground or anything, but there were still a lot. And so, yeah, you still got to be aware of tornadoes. And also, probably a lot of people think that there's been more worldwide problems in the new modern-day lifestyle from humans and all of that. But there's also been, world problems also throughout history before humans, or the early stages of humans, like Ice Age. Ice Age was not good. It just, like, froze the whole Earth and, killed a lot of species. And it kind of did restart kind of like life and all. But it still wasn't good and stuff. And there are going to be a lot more natural disasters like World War I, World War II, wars in general, which were caused by humans. I think a lot of the disasters have been caused by humans in the modern day life, but there were probably so much more disasters before even humans walked on the earth. Like, we don't know what those were exactly, but, like, we know that there were, like, dinosaurs and stuff, and they went extinct. We don't know how they went extinct. There's a lot of beliefs and all of that. We don't know that for sure, though, but we may figure out someday. And so, yeah, there's been a lot of world problems in the world when you really think about it. Maybe at first you're kind of like, global warming, tornadoes, tsunamis, I don't know. But then, like, when you really think about it, then you're like, yeah, that's a lot more than I would think. And even, like, wars, honestly, humans could end the world really quickly. It could end in, like, 5 seconds. But, nukes, nuclear wars, doomsday, right? And scientists believe that's how if World War III ever happened, that's how it would go out, with a nuclear war. And there's been a lot of threats on that throughout the years and stuff, but it's never happened. And humans have more evolved over that nowadays. They've got smarter, they've got more mature, and now humans are kind of like, oh, that's not a good idea. No, we should not do that. But we're back in the day, they were like, actually considering it, where now they probably won't ever do it. I said maybe it might not happen, probably won't happen for a while, but it obviously could, because we don't want Gen Stupid to happen, because then it could happen. But, so yeah, definitely. There's a lot of world problems, world issues, viruses throughout the years, like the Black Plague or the coronavirus. All of these, those actually came from animals to humans. The most deadliest viruses came from animals instead of, like, humans. I forgot how. So, like, Black Plague started by rats, I'm pretty sure, and then, like, coronavirus. So that started by, a lot of people have different beliefs. The most, what people think is bats, and a lot of scientists think that, but then I've also heard, like, snakes and stuff too. Some people I've actually heard, like, saying that, like, a snake bit a bat and then the bat bit a human. So I've heard a lot of different like stories on like how that happened, but it did come from animals, and it might be affecting humans, but it's also affected animals. There's been some animals throughout this time that have gotten viruses throughout the years, and I don't think it's as bad for animals. I could be wrong, but I think it's because it came from animals, although it did come from a bit different species, and humans are a different species of animals. So maybe that species didn't get as affected of it as other species, but I don't know how that works exactly. I'm not a scientist, but you know, and then there's also been good, like, we're probably not gonna have an ice age for a while, although if a nuclear war does happen again, have you ever heard of the thing called nuclear winter? That could happen, and then we could have like another ice age. So that would not be good, but it definitely could happen if we start a nuclear war. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically they think that if a nuclear war does happen, that all the smoke, it'll go in the air, right? And then that'll like the sun won't be able to get past that, so then it'll get like really cold, and it would be really cold in the world, and like it wouldn't be snow that falls. It would be like a different type of snow, like a gray snow. That's what scientists have said, and I don't know if I'm exactly right, but that's what that is, and that could definitely happen. And you know, there's so much stuff that could happen, that could go wrong in the world, and we don't want that to happen. We kind of just, I think that people spend too much time focusing on disasters or you know, problems, and instead of kind of living their life, you know, you could like spend your whole life preparing for a war, you know, and then like it'll probably not happen. And especially now, I mean, we did have like we have had some recent wars that have been really big and stuff, like the Vietnam War, and but like I don't think that'll happen in a while unless something goes wrong, of course. But obviously it could, and like people have been prepping for, you know, the worst of the worst, where you could just be focusing on now, and instead of what to come. What to come, I mean, if a war does happen or doomsday does happen, then then good job. You were smart. But, you know, then at the same time, then you wasted all that time. You look back, you know, you could, instead of been on the cliff thinking about the worst of the worst, instead of, you could be on that cliff thinking about the best of the best. Think about like, oh, that's a really nice sunset. Oh, this is really nice. I'm not going to have this time a lot. And when you like, you know, when you go on stuff, you have those really good memories, and you always want to have good memories instead of bad memories. You don't want to go somewhere on vacation prepping the whole time for how it could plan out. You instead want to like have a real vacation. You want to like enjoy yourself. Vacations are a thing where you can just clear your mind and not be stressed and just focus on now. And that's why a lot of people take them, and you know, it's really nice. And I think that everyone should focus on more now instead of the worst to come. And sometimes it's good to plan, and like you know, then we have like the military and stuff, and those people are very important because they fight for countries and stuff. And you might think like, oh, maybe from what you're saying, military's not good. I think military is good. I think that even if you don't ever fight in a war in the military, you're still learning survival skills in case anything happens. You're learning how to, you know, you're getting stronger. I think it's very beneficial for your life. So if you want to go, you should definitely try out being on the military. But disasters, problems, issues, there's definitely a lot of them. And, you know, there's stuff like venomous snakes and all of that. And, you know, you could be like, oh, those are the worst. And they're just kind of living. They're kind of just like, it's just kind of their instincts. And they won't hurt you if you don't hurt them. Actually, I don't know about that with snakes. Normally, snakes won't do that. They won't hurt you normally. But, you know, I don't know much about snakes. I should bring off the topic like that. But, you know, something that, like, you actually need to be careful around is plants, different plants. There's plants that can hurt you and kill you even. There's, like, all that different types of stuff. So you got to be really careful about what you do. Like, I mean, there's poison ivy and stuff, and that's not good. But, I mean, you probably won't die from it unless you had, like, some sort of allergy, I guess. But, you know, and, like, all of that. So there's definitely a lot of problems, issues in the world nowadays. But it's just nice to relax and enjoy what you're doing, enjoy life, enjoy what you want to do, because you don't want to waste your whole life prepping. You want to enjoy it, because, from what we know is you only have one, but that could be wrong. There could be more. We don't know. Anyway, Jake, would you like to add anything?
Yes, I would love to add to your amazing start to this episode. And I really like it how at the end of your talking points, how you talked about survival and how there are problems like venomous snakes, poisonous plants, all these different things that are definitely real world problems. But in this episode, we're talking about world problems instead of personal issues, because there's a lot of different things. There's a lot of things that are different from that. And I really like it how Callum talked about global warming. So if you watch our Animals and Nature's episode, that was our last episode, 2 episodes ago, and it was a really good one because we talked about nature and animals and the different things about it. And really, I feel like JCT Talks, we've been really getting into the survival kind of episodes because we interviewed Daniel Vitalis. We talked about hunting and fishing. These are both survival things. And I asked Daniel, saying, would you compare yourself to a doomsday prepper? Like, if you've ever watched the show, it's doomsday preppers, like what Callum is talking about, doomsday. Like, would you consider yourself that? Because he's preparing himself for these different events that could happen. And he said, enjoy life. Just like what Callum said, you should enjoy life. Don't be worried about these things. And he made the point of this thing that you're preparing for, doomsday, might not even happen. You never know. But these doomsday preppers say, prepare for the worst. You never know what's going to happen. And that's true. But you shouldn't worry about this. You shouldn't get stressed, anxious about these things. You should enjoy life. But these are problems that you want to focus on, like global warming and the shortage of fossil fuels. These are things that you really want to focus on in the world right now, the environment. Because if you don't focus on this, who cares if you're preparing for doomsday? The world's going to overheat, and in the next year it's going to end because global warming. You should focus on global warming and get things done baby steps. You really want to do that because global warming is so big. With the COVID-19, I talked about this in a lot of our episodes, how when COVID-19 happened, global warming, it really got much less because so much more less cars. Like there was a small amount of cars on the street. There were not as many people out and buying groceries and plastics. It was really good for the environment, this coronavirus, but it wasn't good for people. So this is indeed a real world problem, and it's solving one, and it's hurting one. It's causing people to get the coronavirus, die from it. It's not good. And I really like it how Callum talked about wars and how it was back then. And as we go through history, there are a lot of problems that you can think about. And one of the things that hits me really hard is the Spanish flu. So that really connects to what we're experiencing these days, which is the coronavirus. And if you want to watch our How Coronavirus Has Affected Us episode, I'm really touching on each episode that we've done. If you want to watch that episode, it's really good because we talk about how it's affected us, what's happened, and comparing the coronavirus to the Spanish flu, there's been a lot of difference. And if you want to watch our technology episode, that's a good one because it talks about how much technology has advanced to fix these problems. And they were real world problems, but now we're fixing them. If you look at Spanish flu pictures, look at the masks that they're wearing, look at the equipment they're using. It's not as good as the technology that we've made for today, like ventilators, masks, not as good at all. Because we've really improved and we've fixed these problems. That's how governments work. That's how scientists work. I really like it how Callum, he really made the point. Scientists have talked about. Scientists has proven. Science is real, and that's what is really going on in this world, and that's how we solve the problems. And dinosaurs is one thing that we don't know about dinosaurs. They could have spoken just like us. Well, of course, they had a way of communication, but they could have had their own language. You don't know, and we don't know how they just disappeared. We don't know how they just went to the ground. You never know how that happened. And there's a lot of things that we can question in history, but one of the things is countries and how they've come through, but there's a lot of problems that countries experience. For example, the United States. I will say, when you look at our viewer, what country they're from, only 7% of our viewers are from the United States of America. Now, the other viewers, the most is 56% from Canada, may I add, and the other is other. That's what the other countries are. So, which is very interesting. And how the United States started was colonists coming over from Spain, Portugal, England, coming over and colonizing the land. And that's how they started it. They just started colonizing. They were exploring. But then a problem came where the Native Americans, the American Native Americans, were already here. And they were like, wait, why are you on our land? Like, this is ours. Like, you're taking our food. You're taking our... Now, this is a problem that they had. And there was definitely ways that they solved it, which were not the best. And were not... I mean, there were good and there were bad ways. Some people got a better side of the deal. Usually the colonizers. But you never know. But that's problems in history, and these are things that have experienced. But as it spread west in the United States, there was gold found. They solved these problems, and one of the things that the English had, that I am taking virtual school, and one of the things that my social studies teacher said is, how did the English, they had a problem, and what they do? So it was after the French and Indian War. How did they pay their debts? They charged taxes. And this is one of the things where it's give me liberty or give me death. This is a problem in history. This is what wars were fought about. This is how people disagreed. They sometimes didn't solve it with maturity on the ideas, like Callum said, how people have gotten more mature, and that's why less wars have been going on. For example, World War I, World War II, the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, all those wars, they're solving a problem. I mean, I don't agree with that idea of solving a problem that way, but it's true. They solved the problem, and they had a goal. Both sides had a goal. We want to do this. We don't want taxes. We want to stay here. We want to be free. They fought against each other to solve a problem, and one side, there's no right side. There's always, well, nowadays there's definitely right sides. For example, the Civil War, but there's right sides that people think, and it's really your opinion, and it's how people think about it. And that's why problems are based on opinion, because people may say, you know what, I don't care about global warming, and I want to keep building my underground bunker for doomsday. And you know what, I don't care. I mean, it's fine. That's how you want to, but there's real world problems that people should focus on if they want to survive for a couple more centuries. So that finishes me up for this time. Callum, do you have anything to add? And I also want to add, this is an awesome Zesty shirt, though. And don't forget to enter the giveaway. So, Callum.
Yeah, definitely don't forget to enter the giveaway. And you made some really good points about all of the war and all of that's happened throughout history. And yes, and how humans used to, humans did not like each other back in the day. And humans have came to more peace. There's still a lot of human that don't like each other, though. So that's just something. And but there's definitely been a lot of disasters, and like most of the problems that we're talking about that humans know about. But I mean, there could have been. There's probably so much more that we don't know about that scientists haven't found. And I also want to add something about and that's is that there's so many more creatures in the world that we have not discovered. We've only discovered I think it was like 8% of the ocean, and there's so much more ocean to be discovered throughout the years. There could be more dinosaurs. There could be like water dinosaurs that we didn't know about, or just dinosaurs that were flying over the ocean somehow, or walking down the ocean. I don't know, and their bones fell down. And so then we haven't discovered them yet, right? And but yeah, there's so much more to be discovered in the world. And and I think that everyone's curious. Everyone's curious in the world. Everyone's curious. If you're in a museum and there's this room that says "Do not enter, no trespassing," I mean, do not enter, like that, like literally, there's a door with all that. You're gonna be like, oh, I want to go in there. I want to see what they're hiding. Most people can probably relate on that, and that's why like there's been that's why like humans made nukes and all of that. I don't know if that's why, but humans were definitely curious about that, and they've made some, you can like look up videos of them exploding one in this big open area, and because they wanted to see what it would do, and it is kind of fascinating, those videos with the mushroom cloud and all of that. But it's definitely a natural, it's definitely a world problem, and there's probably other stuff like on Mars. They've noticed that like the rover on Mars, there's like these like little sandstorms, like little tornado sandstorms, I'm pretty sure, and like on Mars and stuff. And I wonder what that's like. There's other stuff got to be like that on other countries. So it's really interesting to think like other disasters or problems. There's other like problems or issues on other countries that they're trying to fix. The thing is, you cannot fix problems. You can't fix hurricanes. You can't make there not to be any more hurricanes. You could put a force field around the world, but there'll still be hurricanes, tornadoes, all of this. You can't stop that. That's just gonna happen. And sandstorms, you can't stop that. So you just gotta like live with the fact. And like those people should prep. The people that get a lot of hurricanes and tornadoes or sandstorms, they're like rebuilding their homes or like even like doing that. So they gotta work a lot, and they gotta work for their lives, and then they gotta like evacuate. So they're doing a lot. And I know like in people in Florida, they get like a tropical storm or hurricane like once a year, and I remember my mom telling me that she has like a friend in Florida, and like their house is on stilts, and they're just like used to their whole bottom floor getting flooded each year. And and that you really gotta prepare for that. And it's definitely interesting, and we've definitely had some really big hurricanes recently, and that's just I'm pretty, it's got to do, I don't know what it is. I got to look more into that after this episode. I don't know why it's happening, but this year I'm pretty sure we had the most tropical storms and hurricanes in like a long time. And and back to the war stuff though. I remember World War I and World War II were a couple decades apart. I mean, that's really insane to think about, because wait, when was World War I? Like the early 1900s, right? And then World War II was like in the 40s or 30s. I'm pretty sure, yeah. And they were just like a couple decades apart. In their world wars, which is honestly insane to think about. And and then like viruses and all, like viruses, those are definitely a big problem nowadays. And everyone is kind of just knows that. I think everyone kind of knows that viruses are the thing that could end humans. And and I mean, when you think about it, when a lot of people are affected by the coronavirus, right? But when you think about it, it's not as bad as you would think. It is, yeah, the coronavirus is really bad and all. There's been like almost 10 million cases in the U.S., I think, which is a lot. But it's not as bad as some of the stuff that we've seen in earlier history. Plus, nowadays, we have technology. We can call, we can do classes, we can do school at home, do all this stuff. Think about when the Spanish flu hit. I mean, they couldn't do that. They couldn't do online classes. They couldn't do any of this. They couldn't play with friends. They were just in their homes playing board games, and that's very interesting to think about. And like you can like go out, you can like be on a call, you can like, they're setting up whole schools on the internet now, which is insane. And and that's definitely interesting. I remember hearing something like I've heard people say that they think that school's gonna move like they think that schools are gonna be 100% online everywhere in like years to come. Maybe that's what they think, and I don't know if that will happen, but that's definitely a possibility. There's so many possibilities in the world. There's too many to list off. Then you want to like think about like the new generation. Like if you look back at stuff back from, I'm just going to say like the 80s. If you look cars back then, they look way different than the cars that are right in front of you now. So how will they look in like another 3 decades? I don't know. And that's why there's a lot of possibility to think about. We covered that in our technology episode. These are not problems. Actually, yeah, cars can be problems for global warming, but that was in the technology episode. Go check that out. But we definitely had a lot of problems and issues in the world. And most of them don't come from humans when you think about it. Well, I mean, yeah, global warming. I think like the only one I can think about right now is global warming, which is very bad. It's a very bad thing that some people make their lives on activists for global warming. Some people like spend their like years doing that, and that's really good because global warming is not good, and humans are just creating it worse and worse and worse, and then someday it could be bad. And like how quarantine has really helped that go down a little bit, you know. And also, back to the virus thing. I'm really going off topic, but this is serious. You guys should really get outside, and sunlight can really help. Sunlight really helps with the virus, so you should definitely get some sunlight every day. I recommend it to you. I mean, I am getting it right now, but I recommend everyone does it at least once a day. If Jake's in his room right now, but you know, if it's thunderstorming, then that's okay. But yeah, and like Jake, would you like to add anything to that?
Yes, indeed. I would love to have, and I'd highly recommend getting outside frequently, at least, because Callum is very true. The virus it's less likely to happen in UV light, which means sunlight. And if you look behind me right now, it's sunlight. No, there's a window. I'm inside, but Callum is enjoying the fresh air with sunlight, which is very, very good. You should 100% stay safe because this is a very deadly virus and it can hurt you. But this is the problems that we run into in everyday times, but we develop technology to help it. So a face mask, a face covering, that can stop the virus from spreading. And that's the technology that we've invented to stop this virus, which is amazing. And with the problems that we have in the world, is sometimes we come up with the effects, and like we sometimes get things that can help it. Sometimes we don't. Like, for example, the vaccine right now, we're slowly coming up with it. There's one of my teachers pointed out how many companies are working on to get a cure for COVID-19. How many? Just think about how many companies. That's it. And they're all using different types of things. That's to stop this one big deadly virus, which is crazy because this means that it's a serious thing that we have to worry about. But think about it in the past. It was only in like the 1700s, 1800s when they started learning about germs. So think about it in the Revolutionary War. They were using the same saw to just saw off people's legs, just to take away the pain of the bullet in there, to stop the entire body from being infected. They just used the same exact saw. They would cut, they would put it in just a bucket of blood. That's all they would do. Now it's gross, and we would never do that in this age, but it's true. And that's how much technology has developed, and it's solved these problems. And I think it's really, really good that we're solving these issues because it's making the world a better and safer place once we solve these problems and as we go through with solving these problems. And there's also new things coming out that could even start problems. Like Callum said, cars. So this year, they could come out with a cure, a vaccine to the coronavirus. Then they also could come out with a car that brings the virus back. Right? You never know, because there's new technology coming out thinking, oh, this could go well, and it has to be recalled because it's super dangerous. But Callum said, if you just think of anything around you, just look at it, there could be a problem with it. But that's why we have warnings, we have the FDA, we have different, well, not just FDA, there's also for our Canadian viewers and for any other country viewers, you have your own food system and health systems and governments. And this is what helps us with these problems. They're meant to keep you safe and keep you healthy and just make sure that you're good overall. And just they just want you to be safe. They want you to stay away from these problems. So that finishes me up. Callum, do you have anything else to add?
I really like your points on all of that, and yeah, that's very true. But I think I am all finished, so I think that we should wrap up this episode.
That is a great idea. So thank you everyone for watching the 14th episode of JCT Talks. We are ending our season in one episode, but don't worry, we're only going to have a 2-week break. Then we'll be right back. So, and during that 2-week break, we are going to give a tour of our sets, which is going to be super fun, and you guys get to watch that. So don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. You can follow our Instagram. Callum, you want to talk about our Instagram?
Yeah, our Instagram, we are posting on that whenever. You can find bloopers and behind-the-scenes content on there. And make sure to drop it a follow. But we have more followers on that than our YouTube. So that means that 4 of you are following our Instagram and not our YouTube. So we might need to have a discussion with you. But thank you guys for watching the video. And yes, we're going to have a 2-week break. But the 2-week break, we're going to be posting stuff on the days. So we will still give you content, but we will need a break.
And also, don't forget to watch last week's video and enter the giveaway, the Zest Tea giveaway, because that will be in the description below. And last week, we got to interview the Zest Tea CEO and founder, James Fayal. So make sure to watch that episode. It's probably one of our best episodes ever. Daniel Vitalis, we interviewed him. Watch all of our episodes. Just go back and watch them all. It's great.
Yes.
Thank you so much for watching today's video, and we will see you next Wednesday.
See you next Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.